Have you ever wondered how we went from this
Oh, here comes the pain, bitch!
to this?
We know what happens next. There's the Wolves and Bloodlust on Benruki. Drops down to half. Wow, and down goes Benruki. Steven trying to get him up. I don't know if it's possible. The Bell comes in. Benruki's at 80 plays. He's alive. We're all alive. And Steven pulls off the miracle. Are you kidding me?
Well, the World of Warcraft community has evolved from a tight-knit, social-driven environment, where players relied heavily on collaboration and in-game friendships, to a more diverse and often fragmented group due to the convenience of automated systems like LFR and cross-realm features. Over time, the rise of content creators, streamers, and online forums has shifted the social experience, creating new ways for players to connect, but also contributing to a more individualized playstyle. With the recent release of Classic servers in the last 5 years, and the anticipated Classic Plus on the horizon, there's a resurgence of interest in the older, more communal experience, reviving aspects of the original community dynamics. So today, we're going to take a deep dive into the evolution of the World of Warcraft community, where we started, and how we got here.
World of Warcraft, baby! Yeah!
First BlizzCon, what's your first impression? A lot of nerds.
So I think for the first time, we really felt like we were part of something much bigger.
World of Warcraft, or WoW, is not just a game, it's a journey. Since its launch in 2004, this iconic MMORPG has shaped an entire generation of gamers. But over the last 2 decades, WoW players' mentality has changed in profound ways, from exploring a vast, mysterious world to seeking efficiency and optimization. The community's outlook has evolved alongside the game itself. So let's take a look back at how WoW gamers have changed from 2004 to 2024. In 2004, WoW launched with a bang. For many players, this was their first MMORPG experience. Gamers in these early days had a sense of awe and wonder. Azeroth was a massive, unexplored world, and the community was filled with people who were more interested in adventure and discovery than efficiency. Back then, the idea of min-maxing was a foreign concept to most. People spent hours just exploring the environment, discovering hidden quests, and immersing themselves in the lore. Raids like Molten Core and Onyxia's Lair were less about technical performance and more about the sheer joy of gathering 40 people and tackling massive bosses together. It was chaotic and unrefined, but that's what made it special. Players didn't know all the mechanics beforehand, and that element of surprise and experimentation made every encounter feel rewarding.
Oh, here comes the pain, bitch!
The mentality was social. Players spent countless hours in towns or hanging out in guilds, where the focus was on community rather than competition. Being a casual player was the norm, and hardcore players were considered outliers rather than the standard. As WoW's player base expanded with the Burning Crusade in 2007 and Wrath of the Lich King in 2008, so did the approach to gameplay. New content meant new challenges, and the community started to shift towards a more goal-oriented mindset. The introduction of arena PvP, heroic dungeons, and more complex raids began fostering a divide between casual and hardcore players. Guilds started becoming more competitive, pushing for server firsts and raid content, and this era gave birth to progression raiding, where players were no longer satisfied just clearing the content. They wanted to clear it first, faster, and more efficiently. Websites like Wowhead and Elitist Jerks began to pop up, providing in-depth guides and discussions on the best gear, talent builds, and optimal strategies. The rise of third-party resources helped players approach the game with more information, but it also introduced the mentality of min-maxing. The community still retained its social focus, but there was a growing emphasis on performance. The mentality was slowly shifting towards mastery of the game, and being good at WoW became a badge of honor. With Cataclysm in 2010 and Mist of Pandaria in 2012, the WoW community began to undergo a transformation. The introduction of features like Dungeon Finder, Raid Finder, and Cross-Realm Zones made grouping with other players easier, but it also had unintended consequences. The need to form tight-knit guilds or even talk to other players diminished. This was the start of WoW's shift from a game built on social interaction to one where convenience took precedence. Players no longer needed to network or invest in long-term relationships to experience high-level content. It was a double-edged sword. For some, it opened doors to parts of the game they'd never seen before. For others, it eroded the strong bonds and teamwork that were once crucial to success. The mentality of "I can do it alone" became prevalent. While there were still dedicated guilds and social hubs, the overall focus shifted towards efficiency and convenience. Less time spent forming groups meant more time spent grinding for rewards.
He can't believe that they've lost. They've come so far from the lower bracket. They almost claimed victory. They tied it up at 1 apiece. He is going to run away, and in comes the final abilities, the final kills that they need, despite having to fight against a very resilient Orange Marmalade.
We know what happens next. There's the Wolves and Bloodlust on Binruki, drops down to half. Wow, and down goes Binruki.
He's trying to get him up. I don't know if it's possible. You made it, no touch in. Binruki's at 80K. He's alive. We're all alive. And Senior pulls off the miracle. Are you kidding me? They are all alive.
Here comes the magnificent. They're looking at the pass. Found the Senior Zero. There's nothing left for 9 more seconds. Down at 10%. Trying to get away from the onslaught. Close to 5%. They're in last pursuit.
No way.
Big swap on Rooney though. Pistol's done into cheek, ground into gas. And they take the game. What was that different game? Winning down, coming in from Waz, denying anything from Looney. That was absolutely insane.
By the time Warlords of Draenor and Legion rolled around, WoW had fully embraced competitive gaming. Mythic raids, timed dungeons, and even esports like the Mythic Dungeon Invitational and Arena World Championship became key features of the game. For many players, WoW had become a competitive pursuit, not just a casual pastime. The introduction of Mythic Plus dungeons in Legion was a game changer. It created a new endgame experience for players who thrived on improving their times and perfecting their strategies. Add-ons and third-party tools like Warcraft logs became essential, allowing players to analyze and optimize every aspect of their gameplay. The mentality had shifted once again. Now it wasn't just about doing well, it was about doing perfectly. For many in the community, WoW had evolved into a sport. The divide between casual and hardcore players widened even more, with some feeling left behind by the sheer complexity and demands of the modern endgame. In recent years, WoW's developers had made efforts to recapture some of the magic that made the early games special. Shadowlands and Dragonflight brought renewed focus on storytelling, exploration, and player choice. Yet the community's mentality remained rooted in efficiency and optimization. WoW Classic, released in 2019, also played a key role in reigniting the original mentality of exploration and community. For some, Classic WoW was a return to form. However, even within Classic, the modern WoW mentality seeped in. In 2024, WoW's latest expansion, The War Within, has brought a fresh twist to both the game and its community. After 2 decades of external conflicts, invasions, and world-ending threats, The War Within turns the focus inward, both narratively and for the player base. The expansion explores the internal struggles of Azeroth's heroes and the concept of inner conflict within the factions. The community's response has been intriguing. For longtime players, the story's introspective nature has reignited discussions about character development and personal narratives. But alongside this deeper storytelling, the gameplay itself has pushed players to rethink how they approach WoW. The War Within introduces a new progression system tied to personal and faction-wide choices, making it the most player-driven expansion yet. Players can now carve out unique paths based on their decisions, leading to more personal investment in their characters and story arcs. This expansion strikes a balance between deep, engaging content for hardcore players and a more flexible experience for those who want to explore it at their own pace. As the expansion's journey unfolds, The War Within has already influenced a shift in mentality for WoW players. Many are returning to the game with a renewed sense of excitement, and there's a sense of rejuvenation in the player base. Whether this expansion will continue to shape WoW's future in a profound way remains to be seen, but one thing is clear: WoW, even after 20 years, continues to evolve both in the content it offers and in the minds of its players. What began as a journey into the unknown has turned into a pursuit of mastery and optimization. But at its core, WoW is still about the experience, the friends we make, the challenges we overcome, and the world we explore. Whether you're a casual player who enjoys the scenery or a hardcore raider pushing for that cutting-edge achievement, one thing remains true: Azeroth continues to captivate us, just as it did 20 years ago.